Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're going to look at Chipotle, Tesla, and the IBB. So let's get right into Chipotle Mexican Grill, and let's take a look at the daily, weekly, monthly time frames using technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. So we had a nice little run, 6 days up. We'll see if we could get continuation tomorrow up into the 750 retrace. A lot of these stocks will go to the 618, then to the 750, but also we have an upper trend line up here as well. If we get above this trend line, then we're definitely going to the 440, 443 area, or this gap fill right in here around 441.12. If we make it there, then you definitely want to add a short. If you're continuing up, then we're going into the 200 MA and trying to recapture this. But we are still in a bearish manner on the daily. If you go downward, sideways, and then we're up and sideways, and now we're retracing up, typical action from a stock, especially this. They might have had news, I don't know. Earnings is over with, or they stopped poisoning people, I don't know. But we got a nice little dead cat bounce off this low. They are protecting this 386.43 level. If that cracks, we are going downtown. Weekly chart. They did pop it above the 20 MA today, a little gap up. Let's see if we stay up. If you look at this pattern, we were down, bearish, down. They pop it up, come right back in. Doji, 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 doji. This was a nice bearish pattern too. But again, we're at this double bottom. This is a big area where the stock is sticking around. We popped up, got it above, reversed it, came right back in. Same thing, popped it up, but do they continue it up into this area and then possibly drop it first? We have the 50 MA curling down, so that's going to be some problems as it moves up. But ultimately, still in a bearish pattern. If we get above the 50 MA on the weekly, then we're going to wait for confirmation to get up into this area. If this thing comes right back down, I think we're heading right to the lows again. But we got to wait and see what happens. The pattern on the daily is 6 days up. We probably get one more day and then possibly a pullback. And a lot depends on the markets as well. If the SPY, the Qs, the IWM start to sell, these will all come in. Monthly chart. Monthly, we do have a little bit of a tail, but we're not at the lows, so I'm not really that worried about it. But it looks like to me they're trying to recapture this area, the 440 area, 450 area. We'll see if they can do it. If not, then we're below the moving averages. We're below, well, we almost closed below this one here, came back. Now we have a little bit of a tail, but still needs to get above these highs around the 442.08 to continue upward. If not, this will continue turning down, and eventually that will force it down. But we'll see. This is a monthly chart, but it is bearish. We did have some pretty good volume in here, but you know, we just got to wait and see what happens. On the monthly, I'd like to see it close below 442 for it to continue up. If we stay down in this area, then we have a shot to go up or down. But really, the weekly chart's telling the story. It needs to stay above this 20 MA. If it comes back down, I think we're going right back down to the lows. Let's look at Tesla. We've been talking about this bearish pattern for a while. Let's go to the daily. And it's starting to play out finally. We did cover half of the Tesla trade today because it was coming into the 200 moving average, and we have a 50 retrace down in here. I don't want to mess around. But again, nice downward inside bar, got below the 20. They tried capturing it here. The weak hands dumped out, shorts that is. And then look, boom, 4 days in a row down. Now we are below the moving averages, technically in a weak position. So let's see if we could continue down into this trend line right here, 618. Then you have some gap fills down in this area. But yeah, that was a pretty good sell today. You know, now, we got to see what happens. A lot of times they'll pop it up above the moving average and then hold it up here and then kind of chop and slop. But if the markets sell, like I was saying with Chipotle, this one is going lower. Weekly chart. We talked about this thing getting above the MAs, came back up, never followed through, never confirmed, came right back in, got below. Here we are below again, and the 618, but we're coming into this trend line here, so we're going to see how this thing reacts. On a weekly close, if we close down in this area, say around 207, 208, I think we're on for at least 200, then possibly double bottom here. But weekly chart, we have to wait for Friday's close. But the daily chart, this pattern's starting to play out. It almost reminds me of this. Look at this. Up move, down, sideways, crash. Up move, down, sideways, boom. And this one was pretty good. We're going to get resistance, like I said, around the 200 area. So we'll see how it responds to that, and then we'll reevaluate this one to see if we could get a bounce. Monthly chart. This was above here, actually. Coming right back in. We're below the 20 MA. We'll see how it sets up. But this is, I was talking about this this upper trend line, lower trend line, squeezing this thing. This trend line cracks, I think we're heading down, like I said, to 198, and then ultimately, I think we get this 50 MA right around 175 or so. And if it really starts to rumble the markets, I think Tesla could be a $141 stock in no time, the lows of January. But that's if the markets dump and all that good stuff. But we got to take one step at a time on the charts. Big area is going to be around the 200, 198, 199 area. We'll see how it reacts then, and then we'll reevaluate the charts. And then let's look at the IBB. The IBB, we keep talking about this. So let's go to the daily. Daily pattern. We talked about it when it flushed out. Now we're going sideways. We're setting up in a bearish manner. We'll see how this 50 MA curls in the price and see if it takes it up. But if this thing keeps going sideways for the next 4, 5, 6 days, we're setting up to move lower, possibly maybe next week, but we'll see. We'll see what tomorrow brings. We did have a little more volume on the SPY at 70 million. Nothing crazy, still light, so still a light volume floating market. But the IBB had a nice sell. I mean, this is great and some follow through, but we held the 200 moving average and we talked about that. It is holding so far. Weekly chart, not looking so good. We need to capture the 50 MA if you want to continue up. And then ultimately we need to get to the 300 area and then confirm, and then we have more resistance at 308.96. Then we have big resistance at this breakdown. We're going to have big resistance anywhere in here. Anyone who bought this stock up here or ETF up in this area, they're dreaming of this thing getting back up here. And if it gets back into the 320, 330 area, everyone's going to be taking profit. If we get the gap fill, that's just epic. Because look at this. I talked about this pattern back in December and stuff. We were taking this one. You could go to Twitter. We took this trade. Boom. It's the same thing. Now we're setting up this way, just sideways, and it's setting up to go down again. I believe you can see it better on the monthly. Yeah, on the monthly. Look at this. So we go down, sideways, down, sideways. Now we have 7 months of consolidation. We talked about the monthly chart closing above this green area. I think we have 2 more days on. I think it's the 31st. I don't even know. It's been a crazy last couple of weeks for me. So until we close above this green bar and get above this 50 or 20 MA, we still have big resistance up in this area. So, if you're not short down here and if it gets up here, you have to definitely short this one up in this area. If you are short down here, make sure you have a half position just in case if it pops up, then you can ride this thing down. Again, you have great support around 250 or so. If it does come back in, we'll see how it reacts and then take it from there. I wanted to look at gold today. We haven't looked at gold, the GLD, and a lot of people are asking about this one. And technically, we had a great run. Gosh, we had this thing in December around $100, $100 and like 75 cents. We ran it up, pulled back. We actually covered it at 106.27, pulled back, took off. And I'm not sure. I'd have to look back at my trades to see what we did, but we might have ran this thing up into the 112 area, and then it just kept going. But just a great call down in here. Took off, chopped around. Now we're just kind of chopping around. There's really no rhyme or reason for this. Actually, technically, it's weak. It's setting up in a bearish manner underneath the moving averages. So really, this thing can go down. If it cracks this level right around 125 or so, I think we're heading to gap fill. Right, maybe around 120, 120.15 is gap fill. You have another one here around 118.87, but ultimately you have a big one right around 115. Would love to see it pull back to this area. I don't know if we're going to get it, but let's look into the weekly chart. Yeah, but weekly still bullish. We have an inside bar bullish pattern starting to play out, but then you have an inside bar bearish pattern. So it's technically bullish. We're above the moving averages. Choppy, sloppy, bullish pattern, but just not really doing anything. Just kind of chopping around with yelling speeches, dollar up, this down. Really no rhyme or reason right now. So nothing really to do on gold. Monthly chart. Monthly chart, we ran right into the 50 MA. It is pulling back. We'll see if we could close above it. If we close below it, then technically we're a little bit more on the weak side. We came into this trend line up in here. No, that's not a trend line. Hello. Well, nah, we'll take that out. That was in from something else. But technically, you know, we blasted up. We confirmed above this green bar, but we did get above the 50, and now we're below. We have a couple days left on the month, so we'll see where this closes. But we did run into, let's pull that out, we did run into the 618 up in here. So that's a little bit of resistance. So it is set. If it continues on a monthly basis sideways, we could see more upside. Let's go back to the daily. Again, not too much to do here. I'd rather see a little bit lower prices. Just come back into the 200 moving average, and then we take the trade. Other than that, not much to do on this. But what a great move off the bottom, you know, of December, and boom, straight back up. So anyways, everyone, thanks for watching my videos. If you have any questions or comments, please send me an email at stockbookie@gmail.com. Thanks again, everybody. God bless. See you on the charts.